What if the news could unite us across our differences? And what's really going on in the halls of power, regardless of who's elected in office? Welcome to the Want to Know Weekly Newsletter, where we save you time by summarizing important news articles buried by the mainstream, revealing both the darker forces shaping society and the best of human goodness, creativity, and collective power. Here are a few excerpts of this week's curated news collection. Government officials and mainstream media remind us daily about the dangers of false narratives, urging us to trust approved sources and be cautious of what we read online. To control public discourse, powerful entities have launched widespread censorship, silencing voices that question official narratives under the pretense of combating misinformation. The Twitter files exposed big tech's collaboration with government agencies to suppress content on COVID and other controversial issues, even when the views had credible backing. Twitter's staff even included numerous ex-FBI agents and executives. And the Biden administration pressured Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, to censor COVID posts supporting the lab leak theory, a topic often dismissed as a crazy conspiracy theory and even an attack on science. Congressional investigations into whether COVID was a result of a lab escape have long been underway. And here's what we do know. The US was funding risky coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology from at least 2014. Even though the US government had placed a moratorium on gain-of-function research, the process of making viruses or bacteria more infectious or harmful to better understand how they spread, how they cause disease, and what vaccines or treatments might help to prevent potential outbreaks. 3 Wuhan Institute of Virology lab workers were hospitalized with COVID symptoms in November 2019, according to a US intelligence report. One feature of the COVID virus was something called a furin cleavage site, which is not found in nature and appears to scientists to have been deliberately engineered into the virus to make it more infectious. As the New York Times said, this lab leak would be the most costly accident in the history of science. US federal funding helped to build an unprecedented collection of SARS-like viruses at the Wuhan Institute, as well as contributing to research that enhanced them. And now the former CDC director, Dr. Robert Redfield, asserts that classified State Department documents, if unclassified, could reveal the credibility behind the likelihood that COVID-19 originated from a lab, and that Dr. David Morens, a top advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci, faces scrutiny for obstructing the COVID origins investigations in order to protect Dr. Fauci. Yet an even deeper question is whether COVID was engineered for bioweapons research. The NIH effectively became the home for biodefense research starting in 2001. Dr. Fauci described how research at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases blurred the lines between biodefense and bioweapons research and studies on naturally occurring pathogens, including gain-of-function research. This lack of clear boundaries, combined with the growth of high-security labs worldwide, has fueled concerns that COVID resulted from a lab accident. In fact, these critics argue that gain-of-function research has ultimately made the world less safe, with reports by the Government Accountability Office revealing major biosecurity breaches. In the link below, you can watch our 15-minute mindful news brief on the strong evidence that bioweapons research created COVID-19. The COVID lab leak is a perfect example of misplaced trust in the official story. For years, the lab leak theory was heavily censored online. Esteemed scientists were discredited, shadow banned, and censored. And yet the evidence does point to a lab leak. So who are the real purveyors of misinformation? Can we trust those who claim to protect us from misinformation when they themselves have misinformed us in significant ways? While ordinary people online are labeled threats to democracy for sharing often valid information, we've documented extensively how shadowy government and private interests manipulate what we see and hear in increasingly sophisticated ways. For example, the US's secretive Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC, is investing in advanced deepfake AI technologies to create fake online internet users that would be indistinguishable from real humans. Academic and private sector researchers are now in a deepfake AI race to create these technologies. Yet growing concerns are mounting. Even the US Army's Strategic Studies Institute was similarly concerned. Experts expect the malicious use of AI, including the creation of deepfake videos to sow disinformation, to polarize society and deepen grievances, will grow over the next decade. Whistleblower documents also revealed just how far a shadowy network of US and UK intelligence spy agencies are willing to go to censor alternative views on COVID, among other issues, even if those views contain factual information and reasonable arguments. Their efforts weren't just putting warning labels on tweets or putting individuals on blacklists. They were engaging in offensive strategies like co-opting hashtags, infiltrating private invite-only groups, cutting off bank access to those who organize rallies, and even creating sock puppet accounts, fake online identities used to manipulate discussions or create the illusion of widespread support or opposition. As a Wall Street Journal article stated in response to a federal judge ruling that the coordination between government agencies and big tech to censor Americans was unconstitutional, quote, "The information explosion has allowed more people to spot quickly the mistakes of officials. Those in charge feel threatened. Digital censorship is their response to this crisis of authority." No matter who's president, we're up against forces that run much deeper than the personalities installed in our political offices. And at the same time, no matter who's president, there are incredible and beautiful things happening all over the world that we can be talking about too. The Boston Medical Center has been ahead of the curve in addressing food insecurity with its Food as Medicine program. Patients facing food insecurity receive a customized food prescription, allowing them to visit a hospital-run pantry for food tailored to their medical conditions. No proof of financial hardship is required, and patients choose what food they receive. The program serves around 6,800 patients, distributing 50,000 pounds of food a month, much of it sourced from the hospital's own rooftop farm. To address the dangers pesticides pose to human health and the environment, a ninth grader from Georgia just won the 2024 3M Young Scientist Challenge for developing Pestisand, an AI-powered handheld device that uses spectrophotometry to detect pesticide residues on produce. He hopes to make this widely available. Check out the news article summaries below for all the stories we covered this week. And remember, we can't shift the chaos we're in until we name it clearly. When we can recognize what's pushing us in our personal lives and as a society, we already have a degree of freedom from it. Challenging information can paradoxically remind us of the greater good. It is the courage of the people and the love for the common good that bring these injustices to light, fueling open dialogue and constructive action. At wanttoknow.info, our view counts on YouTube and our social media platforms are being manipulated and shadow banned daily. We really need your help to spread this work. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share this widely. We're all in this together.